Welcome to a spicy Serrano ride. Today the group has 31 riders, which is considerably more than usual for this route. As you can see on the elevation profile at the top of the screen, this route, when going in this direction, has one big climb, and after that, high speed rollers with a final steep climb before descending on Nohl Ranch to Santiago Road.
Yes, today was spicy, but for different reasons. Earlier today, the team photo was taken, and after that, the board members gave a reminder on safety things to consider about avoiding running red lights when riding with a big group behind. Also, an explanation was given why they don't see a benefit or reason to change any of the route regroups for Group 3.
And as we are talking about this, a breakaway of 3 that has just detached from the peloton got pulled over by a policeman for running off the stop sign coming up ahead.
This caused the group to wait for quite some time, so they could all continue the ride together as they normally do. Later we learned that the cop was also checking on Group 2, but because they made a left turn instead of going straight, they did not get pulled over.
I guess you already noticed that we have a new overlay on our video. Trucho and Adam have been working for the last 2 weeks, developing this new GPX video telemetry application, in which now you can also see Trucho's power output, heart rate zone, and a race leaderboard that displays time relative to his position to a breakaway or a group behind.
It was not easy, but using my AI coding abilities, we were able to develop this very cool and useful GPX overlay generator.
Results for last week Crawford Canyon Strava segments points competition will be posted after the Nohl Ranch descent. As you know, you can also check them in the Team Velocity Fantasy League app.
Our guest commentator is back, but this time he doesn't know how the ride evolved. As an AI entity, I am very curious to hear what he has to say about today's ride. Pay close attention throughout the video. I am also interested to hear from our viewers. It will be nice from you all if you could please leave us a comment.
Well, thank you very much. This is the guest commentator returning to assist Trucho on Wheels with yet another one of his wonderful videos. Thank you to Trucho and the channel for inviting me back. It's great to be back, and I really enjoyed doing these. I wasn't actually at the ride yesterday, so I'll be watching it and seeing it pretty much just like anybody else is for the first time, really. If you haven't already done so, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. Like any of the videos that you're watching. Leave comments. Could be things you like, could be things you don't like, could be suggestions for conversation topics, whatever you think. So as the bots just sort of teed up for us, we are on the Serrano Forwards ride here, and very interesting. I mean, in all the years that I've done these club rides, I don't remember a situation where the police were involved because of somebody running a light or a stop sign. Very, very timely and apropos to a lot of the things that have been discussed amongst the different factions within the group over the last week or so. Very, very interesting, very timely. I have personally been pulled over by cops for speeding or running red lights or stuff like that. I've never actually seen it happen on this ride. So yeah, good reminder to everyone. Have some fun, but also adhere to the traffic rules, especially when it comes to stopping at red lights and I guess stop signs too. Big group yesterday from everything that I'm seeing on the screen, as well as just talking to Trucho for a few minutes here. 31 riders, very large group, a lot of experienced riders here, a few newer faces, a lot of the sort of people that you typically expect at these rides. Obviously, people were looking to get aggressive. I mean, those 3 guys broke free on Bass and Cherry, and that's a hard section of the ride. And those are all 3 of them are really, really strong guys. Julian, Steven, Ryan, but there's also a ton of really strong guys here. Guys like Ty and Jason, Jake. It's too many to count off, but a lot of really strong guys here who weren't at the front when the break went, obviously, and they actually really got a pretty sizable gap. At this point, effectively, this ride, Serrano, is got a few twists and turns for the first 10 or 12 miles, but effectively the ride is kind of before Serrano itself, and then my favorite part, the rollers following Serrano. And then the last chapter would be coming out of the hills and heading back towards Fullerton, towards the Fullerton city limit sign. In fact, the same one that was featured in last week's ride as well. So this chapter, I would say, when I sat down today, I actually thought maybe we would pick up with the Serrano climb, but I think that the police thing and the riders running reds, and given how much of a topic it has been lately, I think it's good to start the video there, and it'll kind of give the viewer a little bit of a sense as to what goes into some of these rides. Sometimes when you just jump in right into the action, you don't realize why some of the guys might be tired, why these are even in these sections here, very, very hard efforts. As the bots had commented before, what we're also looking at on screen right now is a bit of an enhanced graphics package. The biggest, there's a lot of updates here, but to me the biggest change for the better and update is just having the power output. I think heart rate is a fantastic metric, but I think power has become a little bit more of something that a lot of us think about. Now, of course, when you're looking at power, you always have to, it's all relative to a rider's weight, which is why when you're listening to cycling on television from, big time professional races, they're always talking about a watts per kilo. And sometimes you hear, really fast guys being described as having, mid sixes or even low sevens nowadays. And that's really kind of trying to take this power number and make it even more interesting. But you've all seen what Trucho looks like, so that's going to give you some idea of, relative to where you're at with your own weight, what his power numbers would be. And so, if for you a really, really hard effort is 5 minutes of 300, but you weigh, say, 20 pounds less than Trucho, or perhaps more likely 30 pounds more than Trucho, hopefully you'll see that, if he's doing, say, 250, 260, you're going to understand that's a pretty hard effort for him. So anyhow, just having that on screen right now is really fun. I think it's going to make this ride and all of our future rides that we get to call on these videos really fun. Effectively here, the guys, like I said before, we're rolling towards the big climb. At the top of the big climb, and you can kind of see on screen on the upper right-hand side, the elevation profile, we're kind of slowly going up, and then we're going to actually descend a little bit, and then the climbing is going to start. So you can kind of see from that graph, we're almost there. There's not too much further to go, but we're basically riding along Yorba Linda Boulevard through Yorba Linda, and we're going to be kind of going down underneath the 91 freeway eventually, and then we're going to be making a right-hand turn onto Serrano, and then we're going to climb up a pretty good climb. However, there is a regroup at the top. So naturally, that regroup, which is in a great spot, kind of brings it all back together. So you could go really hard on the climb, but you might also choose to just sort of get there but not be DFL perhaps, and that way you're fresh for all the fun stuff that's to follow. There's a lot of short, steep, twisty climbs after that long climb of Serrano, and for me at least, that's where the really fun part of this ride is. Whole bunch of good riders around us today. We might as well start calling out some people so that we kind of know who's actually here with us today. Shane Scallions is dead ahead, sitting slightly to our right. Ahead of him is Herman and John McKinley. They've been chit-chatting for about the last minute or so. Right now on Truccio's metrics, we're only pushing, well, now we just popped up into the mid-200s, but we had been rolling fairly mellow. His heart rate isn't super high. Speeds aren't huge. There is a slight climb that we're on, slight roller, 3-4, now we're even up to 5%, but this is not super fast part of the ride. Right ahead of John McKinley is Aaron F. He hasn't been on the rides the last few weeks. I think he's been traveling, so for some of the viewers that might be a new face. He is a newer rider. I think he's only been riding with us for maybe about 4 or 5 years, but he's an incredibly strong rider. Loves rolling off, loves finding breaks. He's a really, really strong guy. He can take long, hard efforts, and really, really strong dude. Sitting on the rear cam right now, we have both Alfredo and breakaway coach Chris Chu. Chris is always fun to have around on these rides. You will always be hearing his voice. He'll let you know when you're doing well and when you're not. Very, very good voice to have with us. Makes it fun. Sitting next to Scallions is John Musey. And directly ahead of Herman is Ryan. Ryan is one of the 3 riders that did get pulled over a little while ago. Ryan, also kind of a newer rider, but very, very strong. And over the last month or two, he's just been riding really, really well, really, really strong. So at this point, we are about to hit the sort of downhill little section on Yorba Linda. This is a spot where there can be tiny little splits. Even though it kind of leads us towards a climb, this is a spot where positioning is pretty important. I have seen splits develop here and stick. Now again, once the climb starts, there is a regroup at the top, so there may already be people who are comfortable not pushing it. I mean, I think, to be fair, I understand Truccio is nursing a tiny little discomfort right now, but at the same time, we don't normally see him hiding this far in the back on these rides. I think he's probably already thinking about that regroup and thinking about what's to come after the regroup. Some sort of interesting exchange going on here between Scallions and Musey. I saw that at that last red light. Looks like they're still chatting. Be fantastic if John is able to be heard in that conversation. I also see in the group just a couple spots ahead of us. We're passing the police officer again. Truccio is just pointing out the police apparently were it must be ticket quota time or something like that, because they're looking for people to nab out here. I see.
Let me add something.
Yeah, please.
Actually, someone was telling me that this police guy, he used to ride with Team Velocity, so he knew the route that we were actually covering.
Wow.
So,
wow. Well, we have had some law enforcement guys on these rides in the past. I don't know. Maybe he didn't get invited to be part of the council. I have no idea what kind of gripe the cop has, but so be it. He does have the right if people are breaking the law, unfortunately. I see Michael Nunez in there. Some people have asked me, why do I keep harping on him? Well, I harp on him a lot because he's a good rider, one of the better riders, and he's been riding with us for over a dozen years, and he needs to stop running red lights. So I kind of went after him at the end of last video, and that's the reason why. If he was a new guy, I would give him a pass. If he'd been with us for 5 years, I'd give him a pass. It's time to kind of get it together, and so that's why I was a little hard on Michael last week, in case people are looking for those answers. Up ahead, I see Mark Blingsbeard. I see Tony Claudio. I see Theron Bell directly ahead of us. I think this rider that's right behind Scallions right now is a dude by the name of Kai. And if we're pronouncing that wrong, we really apologize. We just simply don't know. But at least now we have a name. Good strong rider. Looks to me like he has a lot of potential to be a good climber. He's certainly laying in the back right now, knowing that the climb is coming. Stopping here at this light, stopping behind cars, which is the appropriate way to do it. At this point, we are probably about, a mile before the proper climb starts. This is the Strava leaderboard, which looks a lot sharper with this new interface that we have. And a lot of the usual suspects are sitting at the top of the board. Ty, Kevin, Jake Quadroki. No surprise there. Sometimes Strava boards, as we've talked about in the past, don't actually show who was first, second, and third on the road, but shows who was the faster in a segment. So if you start a segment after the person on the front of the ride, and then you move up a few spots, you might actually be in a faster Strava time than the person that was sitting on the front the whole time. So sometimes that can help explain some of the differences between what you're seeing on the Strava boards versus what you're seeing on these videos. We are basically rolling, almost about to hit the 91 freeway, and somewhere about there is when the climbing starts, while we're still here on Weir Canyon Road. Yorba Linda Boulevard basically turns into Weir Canyon Road. We all talk about Serrano as being a road itself that has a right-hand turn. So when we get there, we're obviously going to point it out. But in terms of the elevation profile, we are going to start to kick up from here, and it's going to continue kicking up all the way until the regroup. But what we call Serrano as a climb hasn't really started yet. This is almost like a pre-climb here. Again, knowing about this regroup at the top, I think a lot of guys are not really caring to push too hard. If you burn too many matches, if you fire too many bullets on this spot here, you might not be as sharp as you want to be for the part of the ride after the regroup where there's going to be attacks flying. There are going to be people putting in huge digs. There are going to be haymakers left and right. You want to be sharp in that spot. I haven't seen this video. I already know that's what's going to happen. It's mid to late August. There's a lot of really fit people right now. People are going to want to go hard after that regroup. Also on camera for the first time, I think I already said his name, but we love him so much. The evergreen Matt Stout is on view here, sitting right ahead of Chris Chu. Directly ahead of him, John Levy, very strong rider. Directly ahead of him, Frank Hurdle. We're seeing him for the first time. Love seeing Dominic in the mix. Just great to have him back in the group ride. Struggled a little bit on the health side, but he's clawing his way back, and it's great to see him. Trucho is moving up a little bit through the group. We're sort of just a little bit behind Bling and Julian and No Pole Michael. Caleb Aguilera is on screen for the first time. A lot of the hitters are kind of moving forward, regroup or not. They're starting to get themselves in position for the big right-hander onto Serrano. Julian's tightening a shoe. That's always a dead giveaway that somebody's looking to go hard. I don't think Julian needs to tell us that he's going hard because he always goes hard. He loves hitting it hard. Jason on screen for the first time, one of the strong guys in the group, week in, week out, month after month. To his right, I see John Sermon, slowly but surely getting himself back into good fitness, showing up with these rides for the last few weeks. Great riding with him again lately. On our rear cam, we got Joven Go. He has been around for a long time, and it's nice to see him as part of Group 3. So we're basically chugging along here, nice and steady. I mean, watts wise, you can see it's not easy right here. 230, 240, 250. Heart rate is creeping higher and higher. 5.5%, 6%, 270, 272. I mean, for Trucho, those are pretty big numbers. Ahead of us, it looks like everybody's chill. Behind us, it looks like we have long faces. Another rider that we haven't mentioned yet is Ray Garza. He is looking at his computer. He's looking up the road. Those are oftentimes telltale signs that people are starting to get a little uncomfortable with the effort. Sitting back there as well is Steven, which is interesting. So I'm just going to guess that Steven's probably either waiting for that turn to hit it hard, or he's just going to lay it up and wait for the regroup. Perhaps August fitness means that a lot of people are going to ride this thing harder than I'm expecting them to. We'll see.
I think he was still a little bit sad because of the ticket he got earlier today.
Oh,
so
I see. The best way to deal with anger is to put it into your pedal, Stephen. I mean, anybody could ask me on that one. That's always been my advice. The great Todd Eaton taught me that a long time ago. Get mad, it's good. Put it right into your pedals. That is a subtle plug. We miss you, Todd. We love you, Todd.
It would be good to know if he's actually watching any of these videos.
All right, let's see if we get a comment from Todd. Right now we're sitting on Tony's wheel. Been very strong lately, and a lot of chit chat, a lot of heads swiveling, a lot of looking around. We are just 50 meters now from the turn onto Serrano. Usually, right when we turn onto Serrano, there's usually a red light, just 50 meters after the turn. And usually when that light goes green is when the earnest effort really kind of kicks in. We will see. We will see what this group is looking to do on this climb. Love the smile behind us on Alfredo. He's either really confident or listening to great jokes. Either way, it's very nice to see it. This is our turn that we've been talking about onto Serrano proper, so we're leaving Weir. And this is really the beginning of that second chapter that I had referred to before. We had the roll towards the climb, and here is the red light that I predicted. And once this thing goes green, we're going to see, now we're green. Okay, so now we're really in chapter 2, which is the climb proper. This is a pretty hard effort. I didn't have a chance to look at Strava this morning. Is it 8 minutes to get up this thing, Truch?
More or less, yeah.
More or less, okay. So this is an 8-minute effort. So, when you're trying to pace yourself, I think that most people are probably looking for small ring as the climb starts. I personally am nowadays. In 2010 or 11, I was probably starting this thing in the big ring. Nowadays, I'm starting this thing in my small ring. All the way at the low side of the cassette, and I'm just going to basically use my rear derailleur to keep kind of heading up that cassette over the next few hundred meters until I get to a proper climbing gear, and then I'm probably going to stay in that gear most of the way up. Everybody has different gearing strategies. Effectively, you want to sort of have the gears to keep yourself on top of the gear, but also be efficient with your pedaling. So for me at least, going from big ring to small ring, I find that to be a pretty inefficient shift while you're already on a hard effort. So the climb has properly started, and you can see here we're at 275 watts. We've gone up into the mid to high 150s now. So you can see that's very hard effort. 9, 10, 11%. John McKinley's shoulders are showing us a lot. He's definitely working hard. Aaron's sitting right next to him, and some of the guys you can see are starting to already break free. I mean, that's a pretty sizable little group that's a little bit off the front. And kudos to them, kudos to anybody out there that's going to hit these climbs hard with or without a regroup at the top. in some ways, I think fair criticism on somebody like me that's going to maybe be chill until the regroup is, that's not really the true spirit of things. It's a group ride and you should go hard, but kudos to these guys for actually doing that. A pretty sizable group is up there. I mean, I can kind of tell you who's not up there based on what I'm seeing on the camera, and that kind of by process of elimination is going to probably tell us who's up there right now. John is trying to figure out whether he wants to try to bridge or whether he wants to try to chill. Jason is laying up right in front of Trucho. John Levy is right behind us. Tony's right behind us. Musey is just a tiny bit ahead of us. So, I'm going to guess that we're going to have, guys like Ty, guys like No Pole Michael, maybe Scallions, maybe, I don't know, maybe Steven's up there. He might still be behind us. I suspect he's not. But, like McKinley's with us in this, really good little, I'm going to call this a gruppetto, but this is some huge firepower guys. They're just sort of playing the safer strategy of riding to the regroup and not being DFL. Pretty sizable group, though, way up ahead there. It's got to be about a group of, it looks like about 6 with a couple behind them. And then for the most part, there's this pretty strong climbing group. Ryan Perez is just ahead. McKinley is sitting directly ahead of us. Ray sitting directly on our wheel. 9-10%, 250 watts. So, this layup is not exactly a soft pedal. It's just simply not going full anaerobic lactic threshold. It just simply is riding probably harder than Trucho would be riding if he was by himself, or certainly if him and I were riding side by side right now, we'd be going a lot easier than this if this was one of our Sunday rides. Ray is making some real interesting faces on the rear cam. We're kind of getting towards the top of the first part of the little climb. It does level off for a sec before it kind of continues again in earnest. That is sometimes a spot when you are going hard on this climb to actually try to take advantage of those people that don't pedal over the tops of climbs. Pedaling over the tops of climbs and not just simply going right into freewheel mode can oftentimes claw back people that went a little too ham on a climb itself. But I like this little group that we're sitting with, right on the J&J, right on Levy. You could see some of the guys that were ahead are just starting that next part of the climb where it ticks back up. They're probably it's a front group followed by a group of 3. I would say all of that stuff is legitimately about 20 seconds ahead if I had to guess. So they're, if there wasn't this regroup, all of these people right here would be in a bad way. That 20 seconds could really open up on the next part of this ride. But with this regroup, we know that there's people back. And so it gives us a chance to get safely to the regroup and have a second to put a foot down, have a swig of water, maybe enjoy a gel or a bar or something like that, and get ready for Chapter 3, which is really a hard section, and it's nice to get there when you're not dead last so that you do have a minute to put your foot down. Ryan just kind of drifting back. He knows that he's got some time. You can see on the rear cam behind us there are riders, but they're a solid, if the leaders were 20 seconds ahead of us, we're 20 seconds ahead of those guys right now. So we're going to have a minute here to enjoy a little respite before this next chapter starts. While we're waiting up here, it's a good opportunity to plug the official Trucho on Wheels fantasy game. Don't think we had any new team entrants during this past week, but when you see the leaderboard from last week, which was going to be displayed on screen at the end of this video, you're going to see that there's a lot of people on the leaderboard. I think as I was calling the ride last week, I didn't have the benefit of actually seeing the leaderboards live. We were kind of doing a commentary a little bit earlier in the weekend than what we normally do. But I was thinking last week, I think I said it on the video, that I think we're going to have a lot of different people on the leaderboards. And we do. We have all sorts of Group 2 people. We have all sorts of people on last week's leaderboard. So it's a good opportunity to kind of look through it a little bit and see who might be good picks from Group 2 with the new weighting process, maybe 2-3 riders. You can see from this Strava leaderboard that just appeared on screen that the usual suspects were sort of at the top, and so guys like Ty Rotha climb hard, and kudos to him for doing so. This right here is a regroup. That's been an interesting topic over the last week or so. Obviously, we have regroups on these rides for a lot of reasons. Some people just need the regroup for so that they don't get dropped too early or don't get a chance to participate in some of the parts of the ride. Sometimes they're important from a safety standpoint. So this is always an important regroup. The look of this ride would look very different if there was no regroup at all. I think, ultimately, the conversation that I thought was going on was about rides with 2 regroups and whether we need both on 2 regroup rides. Somehow I think the conversation did morph a bit into, do we need regroups? So maybe I missed part of the conversation. Maybe I don't actually understand. My understanding was the 2 regroup rides. So it looks like here people are sort of suggesting it's time to roll off. However, I don't think everybody had actually finished the climb. So a friendly reminder to whoever is making the decision when it's time to leave regroups, we actually have to make sure we have everybody. This light here is absolutely red when that rider went through, and there was even a car that he pretty much rode straight towards. That could have been a really bad situation. There's a bunch of cars passing. First we rolled off, and I don't think we had everybody with us. So that's a major problem. And now we have somebody who just went through that red light. So really, I don't care who you are, whether it's me, whether it's Trucho on wheels, whether it's anybody, somebody who, it doesn't matter, new rider or old rider, when there's a red light, please do not roll through them. Just think about the people behind you. Think about their safety. It's really, really important. So we're rolling now, and like I said before, this is kind of like chapter 3 of the ride. After this regroup here, we're just going to be going through a series of rollers. There's also a few pretty hard technical turns on the route. From here until like what you see on the elevation profile is the second long descent. From here until that spot, you really want to be kind of riding as close to the front as you possibly can. Looks like Trucho has followed a couple of guys that have peeled off, notably Steven and Ray. They've got a few seconds. The new rendering is showing actually a gap of 4 seconds. So that's a really nice new feature of this new layout, is we're actually getting pretty accurate GPS data showing us what gaps are going to be, which is really cool. Trucho is pushing here. I just saw 340 for a couple seconds. Now he's back into the 300s. Here's the rider that went through. Again, not trying to harsh on anyone, not trying to, this is not a personal thing. This is just me trying to be open and honest and holding us all accountable. If I'm the one who's running a red, I will say so. When I was in the faux break a couple weeks ago, I started the video by saying that faux break shouldn't have skip the regroup, and I still stand by that. We should not have skipped that regroup. So I'm going to hold all of us, myself, Trucho, and anyone else, to the same high standard, which is just a basic standard of safety and sportsmanship. This three-person group is rolling nice here. I mean, Steven is a massive engine. Getting a chance to roll with him is absolutely fantastic. You know, there's a ton of firepower behind us. I'm not sure if people may have gotten stopped at one of the subsequent lights, but we do have a little gap. I mean, on screen it's showing 3 seconds. On the rear cam, I'm not really seeing much. Maybe I do see riders, but if I do, they're probably single file. I mean, there's a lot of good riders back there, and if just 2 or 3 or 4 of them decide to trade turns, it's going to be hard to stay away from the main field with that many good people back there. But you know, if there's anyone that you want to have with you in a situation like this, it is a big engine like Steven. I think a week or 2 ago I called him a diesel because I don't see him as a very explosive dude, but once he gets up to speed, he can hold it, and he likes to roll these brakes, and he likes to instigate them and push them, and that's super awesome. He's continuing to push. We're, you know, at 480, which, you know, again, for Trucho, if you oh, look at that. We even have a watts per kilo. That's incredible. So that's another metric that I didn't quite see for the first couple of minutes of this video. So not only do we have watts, we actually do have watts per kilo, which is something that I was talking about a few minutes ago. But, you know, again, seeing him a few seconds ago on that uphill part, pushing into the mid-3s, you know, for Trucho, those are very, very big numbers. Right here, we're on, actually, we just made the turn onto Nohl Ranch, and right here we're making a left against traffic, so sometimes this turn can be a little tricky, but we're turning onto Stagecoach. And right here there's a series of small rollers followed by a long downhill. So a small group splintered off of the front of the main field did just come up and catch us. A lot of big players in this group. Sermonator's here, Ty is here, Scallions is here, Julian is here. So I was thinking that there'd be maybe 3 or 4 guys that would roll the front and push to bring these guys back. That might have been what happened, but these guys broke free. So I don't know if they attacked the field or if they just simply rolled off the field. But this right here is huge firepower. And so Steven is probably going to try to integrate into these guys. And all of a sudden, you've got some massive players at the front. Trucho's doing a pretty good job keeping them in sights. We're more or less on Sermonator's wheel. John is an explosive rider, so it's hard to follow, you know, pedal stroke to pedal stroke with somebody like that on these short, steep things. I mean, I think that last little ramp got all the way up to like 13.5%. Sermonator is losing a little steam. Kevin just appeared. I don't think we'd even said his name yet on this video, along with No Pull and Ryan. Now I see Jake with his head down, chugging along. So if some of these groups are able to stay together that are on the front of us right now, you have some of the better riders of the group all working together. And you can see here on this descent, we already have sizable gaps. The first few guys are probably about 2 seconds behind. Maybe that's Kevbot, who's in like that sort of no man's land trying to bridge. Jason just appeared. He's even smiling. He loves it. He loves seeing who's ahead of him. He's literally laughing. I'd be crying. He's laughing. You want to hate him, but he's a kind of a nice guy, so we're not going to hate on him. He's getting a couple of deep breaths of air, but yeah, I mean, at this point, this is most of your firepower of the main field. Did just see a few guys cross over the yellow line to try to get the best line and the best apex for this turn. There was an oncoming car, which is just a great reminder to stay on the right side of these yellow lines on group rides. When you're by yourself, as you wish, but on these group rides, try to stay on the right side of the line. We're still more or less with these good guys here. oftentimes at the bottom of this hill, and this is like the Stagecoach descent right here is what we're on. Long sweeping descent, oftentimes have a side wind coming across, making it very technical. More riders coming back now from the back. I just see Tony blazing through in the drops, looking nice. Caleb, surprisingly, is still back there. Most of the time, this turn from Stagecoach back onto Nohl Ranch is in fact red, which is almost like a faux regroup. However, that was a green light, and we have second group all over the road in front of us. Right now we're looking at the Strava leaderboard from the descent, and of no surprise, Kevin is going to be on the top. Even though he wasn't in the very front part of that ride, he started behind people and he caught up to them, which gave him a great Strava time. This red light was pretty red while there were still riders rolling through. I definitely appreciate guys like John Sermon and Truccio and John Musi for making the wise decision to stop. It's a little annoying because now we have basically the top 12 or so guys, or maybe it was 10 guys from this group that are now basically integrated to second group. I think they're going to probably roll through that second group pretty quickly, just based on what the parkours look like over the next few minutes. But still, you know, it's you know, you can see that light went green, and all of a sudden John jumped on his pedals. John McKinley rolling through right behind Sermonator. Guys are going to try to get back to our leaders. Here we already have another red light, but these red lights, that first red light, this red light, even if we get lucky with lights going forward, it's going to be really hard now. Most of the firepower is ahead of us. I think maybe that red light would have maybe been an opportunity for people to sit up afterwards and wait for the group. John Sermonator is determined. He didn't come out here to ride the gruppetto, so he wants to get up front. We have some good riders around us right now. I don't think I've called out his name yet. Is that Sean?
Sean.
Yeah, okay. Sean Gorham started the ride with us. He is looking pretty comfortable sitting next to John Musi. Truccio has come along up to Sermonator. I love John's heart. I know he wants to get back to the leaders. Unfortunately, it's going to be really hard to do it alone. The best bet that this group has is to get John, Truccio, John McKinley, John Musi, anyone and everyone to start to pitch in together. Truccio and John, as we say that, are opening up a little gap from the main group. So, you know, I mean, just because I said stay with everybody doesn't mean that's the only strategy. Truccio is mid 300s here on his power meter. He's peaking into his 160s now on the heart rate. Even with a 5-6% climb, they're still pushing darn close to 20 miles an hour. Another red light up ahead. I'm going to guess that the guys behind us are going to come back on this light. We'll see. So these guys, you know, they're putting in work here. I mean, there's like 8 or 10 guys up ahead, and there's just some really good guys. I mean, effectively, I would say probably 8 or 10 of the top 12 or 13 people from the ride are in that break. So bringing them back is really going to take a Herculean effort, but everything is possible because they're subject to red lights as well. Not to mention, you just never know what you can put together. Maybe not all 8 or 10 of them are actually pushing. We do see some riders up ahead. This could be our guys. It could also just simply be Group 2. Sometimes when you come over these little rolls and you see a group ahead of you, it sometimes isn't the group that you're hoping it is, but we'll see who's up here. This is a good opportunity, you know, this is a good reminder here. I mean, these guys did in fact get stuck behind that red light, and so now we're pulling back a couple of these Group 2 guys. I think that Mark Ortel and Lindsey McKinley, of no relation to John. We're getting an opportunity to see some other second and third group guys. That's the other Johnny D that we just passed. That might be Scott that we're passing. This backpack tells us everything we need to know about who we're about to pass here. Perhaps this is Mike Niehaus or something like that.
No, that's Simon.
Oh, that's Compa Padilla. My apologies, Compa. That's original OG Compa Street, Compa Padilla right there. John Sermon continuing to pick through some of these riders. We still have a big group behind us, but between pushing it on some of the rollers coupled with lights, they're not necessarily on our rear view. So kudos to John Sermon. Chucho's pitching in, but I would say that John is really doing a lot of this work here. This might actually be Steven that we're coming back to. Nope, it's not. But anyhow, we're just rolling, picking off Group 2 people left and right here. Our guys are somewhere up ahead still. They might be at the front end of this group, but they may already have moved off of this group. I do see a sizable group up ahead that's got to be 20-ish seconds from where we are right now. Continuing to go through some Group 2 guys. Here's Rob Ashley that we're passing. It's nice to see him on the videos. That I think was Niehaus. And we are just rolling through Group 2 guys. Chucho might be about to pull the plug. He's not pulling the plug. He's just not responding to the elbow. That's a universal sign when one rider wants the rider on their wheel to roll through. He's shaking his head. He's trying to tell Chucho, I need to recover. This has been a lot of effort from John. A lot of explosive continued efforts. Jake 2 showing up on the video. We're just pulling through so many Group 2 guys here. Oof, that pedal stroke, no good. Continuing to roll through different riders here. The captain. Let's pay respect where respect is due, please.
Yeah, unfortunately here, Little John Sermon, he couldn't follow my pull. I didn't realize he was not behind me after a while.
So Chucho did pull through, and unfortunately it was a little too late for John Sermon. He was just, he had to pull his pin. But I wouldn't just simply count him out. We might see him again. We still have a sizable, section here of what is going to need to be hard efforts. The real Johnny D on screen for the first time. That's right, John Dahlman, the real Johnny D. So these rollers continue, and basically we're about to kind of come towards the final roller here. The road kind of heads right, and then it kind of sort of is a long sustained roller, and this is a really hard section. Between the Serrano climb and all of the subsequent rollers and twists and turns, it's really hard to save something for this. But this is often a spot when we're Grupo Compacto, right? Like right now we have a break, maybe it stayed together, maybe it broke apart. We haven't seen too many of those guys coming back towards us. But, you could see, we've been rolling through Group 2 for what feels like 5 or 6 minutes at this point. So it just shows how hard this roller section is. And then there's like this long sustained roller. And oftentimes when Group 3 is rolling through here and it's more or less Grupo Compacto, there'll finally be a few folks that break free towards the end of this thing. And if the light is green at the bottom of the descent, that could be the end of them until the Fullerton city limit, or rolling back into Fullerton. So this spot right here is really hard. It's a very, very hard hill to kind of come to after all of these hard efforts. The other Johnny D he's not faux Johnny D, but he's just like other Johnny D. We just rolled past, and he's a really strong guy, and he's looking down at his handlebar and his computer, begging for just a little bit more energy. But he's probably towards the front of the second group, so I'm going to guess that we're almost at the front of what would be second group. Right here, you kind of, when you're out here, you almost are so thankful because like the climb is over, but yet this part right here continues to sit at like 5-6%. It still hasn't stopped climbing, even though sometimes when you're on the ride, it feels like, thankfully we're at the top. You're not at the top yet. Finally, we just kind of came over the top. And you can see from this leaderboard that all of those people that broke free, for the most part, are dominating the board. There was a couple of people, maybe from Group 2 or other, that were also on that board. I think what we found from last week and maybe even this week is, sometimes names are showing up on our little spreadsheets in our game that are actually people that have nothing to do with this group ride. They just happen to be out there today. We're just basically taking a snapshot of the strongest people of each of these segments on the day in question. And so you might not be on the group ride, but you might be beating all of us or beating some of us on some of these segments. And so your name is going to show up on these videos and on our spreadsheets. Now we're on the proper descent. You can see from the elevation profile that we're on a very steep, short but steep descent. I mean, we're seeing a -11, -11 and a half. And trust me, when we're doing the forward version of this ride, you feel that 11% right here. It's a pretty steep hill going up Nohl Ranch. Made it through that light, in my opinion, safely, because on the rear cam it was yellow for quite a while after we passed through the light. That's what we like to see, rolling through when it's either green or the start of the yellow rotation, not at the tail end of a yellow or the beginning of a red. We're continuing to descend. At the very bottom here, there's almost always a red light. Every now and again it's green, so you have to be careful. You have to stay on the edge of your saddle. But you also, right about here, should be at least brake checking to see, and it's in fact green. So, Trucho's going to roll through safely. Oh, he could have rolled it, but you know what? That was an incredibly cautious move, but okay. I think if he had rolled that, he might have actually had a chance to possibly see the brake guys. Yeah. But at this point, the brake guys are going to get a good run at the Fullerton sign. I'll be really surprised if the group is able to pull them back. I know we're going to get people on us right now. It could be like the Johnny D type. It could be like, Group 2 types. Here's John Levy, so he's from our group. So we are getting guys that were Group 3 guys. Here's Chris Chu. Fantastic job, Chris Chu. I mean, that was a very hard section. Pulling Beard coming up.
I just stood up and I was
absolutely. Kudos to both of you guys. McKinley's with us. So we're kind of back to the hard men, hard people who didn't quite get into that break when that light was kind of yellowish, reddish, whatever you want to call it, when the group finished Stagecoach and came back onto Nohl Ranch. But all of these guys here are all really strong guys. And so I don't think we're going to see the leaders, but you never know. I mean, red lights might bring them back. You never know. But at the very least, we do have a good group of folks to roll back into town with. Interestingly, this next part of the ride, I think before I might have called this like Chapter 4 or something like that, but this next part of the ride, which is basically getting back into Fullerton, and then like a sort of a final sprint at the Fullerton City limit sign. This spot here, once we roll through this light, and John Serminator's back with us. This next part of the ride, Sean's with us. Kudos to Sean. Great riding. That's actually Serminator's dad in the colorful top directly to our left. This next part of this ride is actually a duplicate of the final chapter of last week's ride. So last week, we were right here, same as this week. So these two rides have an identical finish. yeah, it looks like most of the Group 3 people that didn't make the break are back on the rear cam, along with a lot of second group people. This is the final tally results from last week's Crawford ride. And as I was saying before, when we were up at the regroup, this is a very deep list. There's a lot of people on this list. These spreadsheets, by the way, can be found on the Fantasy Game interface. There's a little tab that you can click, so you can actually really go through these things and comb through it to try to find interesting people to put onto your fantasy group. There might be somebody that has a relatively low cost that might yield big results. I think that's what our current game leader is doing, is he's like using second group people in a very opportunistic way. So, you know, if you look at Mark's current team winning group, you'll see sort of what I'm saying, and you'll see why it might be a good idea to comb through those results and pick a team. It could be fun to follow your team's results each week of the month, and knowing that perhaps you might get an opportunity to do a reset and start again next month. Group is finally getting a green light, and this little section here, slight downhill. There's a tendency for there to be some traffic issues. So staying alert, staying in good position is really important. Like sitting on somebody's wheel like a John McKinley is a really good thing to do. Like when there's all this traffic here, bike traffic as well as car traffic, you want to follow good wheels. At this point, I don't think too many gaps are going to open up, just because I think a lot of the aggressive folk who would normally be looking to push here are way up ahead in the break. But all of our folks and a lot of Group 2 folks are together here. Matt and Dominic are wheel to wheel, Group 3 guys alongside of Real Johnny D and Simon, Group 2 guys. So it's, very sort of mixed group of riders here. Second Johnny D is sitting on Chris Chu's wheel. Behind us are a bunch of riders as well. So it's a pretty big group that we've got here. Successfully kind of making it through this light, which is very nice. This is oftentimes a red one. This is a pretty major road right here. We're actually on Lincoln, and for anybody who knows this area, they know that Lincoln's one of the main roads of Anaheim. And luckily, we're only on this road for another quarter mile or so, and we're going to be making a hard right, just like we did last week. But I think this is going to look a lot different than last week, just because we have a very different makeup, being part of a 2-3 kind of combined group. Rob Ashley sitting on our rear cam, so's Herm. Matt is looking to be in a good spot for this turn. He wants to be on the outside. So does Trucho. Taking the turn wide and then coming in, which is effectively making the shortest, most direct line that requires as little turning as possible. Here's a favorite of Trucho on Wheels fandom, Dory. She, I believe, started with Group 2 today, so she's probably just doing a recovery week. We all successfully made it through that turn safely. Couple of possible lights here. Our brake guys are still up the road. People are going to wisely stop at this red light. So now our sort of 2-3 combined main field is broken up in two. Perhaps before we turn onto frontage, it's going to come back together. But even if it doesn't, we still have a pretty sizable group here. I do appreciate that everybody just stopped. No one tried to jump across this red. I think I think the rest of the group is actually successfully up a little bit now. Like I said, we do have a pretty good sized group that are with us at this point. Some good riders in here. Another red light. So we might be going home in like a sort of split behind the main part or the front part of the main group. Dory, Herman, Mark, Simon, some strong people around us right now. We are kind of up ahead here, just about to cross over the world famous Santa Ana River Trail. And after that we will be making a left onto frontage. That has a light that is almost always hard to get through in terms of reds and or traffic being the bigger issue in my mind. This is a pretty major intersection. Trucho's coming towards the front. Group 2 rider with his tongue hanging out behind us tells me he's probably riding pretty close to his limit. That can sometimes be an interesting situation. We'll keep our eyes on him. I think the front part of the main field has in fact made it through the light. I don't believe I see them up ahead here. So yeah, I mean, the groups can still come back together on the traffic lights on La Palma, but at this point I'm suspecting that we might just sort of be rolling on group 3, like a break, then the first part of the main field, and then the group that we're in here called third group, I would say, or third split on the road. This is a red light. Trucho is parking himself at the red light.
When you open the cash performance and you see the
Last week on this exact same spot is where I kind of lit into somebody. I'm very much hoping that when this light goes green, we don't need to do the same again. At this point, given how long we're late waiting, I'm just going to be honest, I don't think we're going to see any of the riders ahead of us unless there's a super long red light on La Palma, which could be. The red light at La Palma and State College can sometimes be a kind of a long light to, if you catch it at the wrong side of the cycle. Trucho is parked. We got a green light. And this is a pretty safe spot. I appreciate everybody kind of coming through there. That was a good and correct time to make this big left-hand turn. We're now on frontage. This spot here is often pretty fast. There's often debris in the actual bike lane / shoulder. This is a good spot to get the group going hard, get it strung out, get it single-ish file. That's usually a safer way to ride a road like this than when there's 2 or 3 wide. It's kind of counterintuitive. When you first start riding bikes, you would almost just think faster is more dangerous, but in situations like this, faster is actually way safer. Howard doing a pretty long pull on the front. Appreciate that. His cadence is slowing down. Our watts are not super hard, but we do have a little bit of speed here. Trucho's getting a little harder with the pedaling now. I suspect he's waiting for Howard to pull off so he could pull through. Looks to me like we're more or less single file behind us. Howard continuing to sit on the front, and Trucho gave him a lot of opportunity to pull off, but Trucho has correctly decided it's time to roll through, because you can see now on the rear cam, Howard is cooked. He needs to go back and recover a little bit. He did a good hard effort. He did his contribution, which is good. Ray rolling through, pointing to stuff, even from the front of the ride, which is good. Very safe. even sitting on the wheel with the benefit of the draft, Trucho is still pushing anywhere from high 200s to 200. Now he's eased off a little bit because he's probably got the benefits of sitting in the draft. Sitting on us right now is Frank Hurdle, coming up hard on the inside. Is not a very safe move. Not a very good use of effort. He's kind of just pushing effort, but it's kind of going nowhere, and he's already gapping off. He's slowing down. If you kind of roll through in the same direction that everybody else is rolling through and actually contribute, you'd be amazed. It's way more appreciated than just doing big efforts for the camera. Dominic doing his best to put forth some effort for the group itself, which is nice. Right on Rob's wheel, doing a good job, kind of trying to get things back under control a little bit. Rob is correctly stopping at this red light, and he's got it green. He didn't even have to unclick, which is absolutely ideal. Trucho coming through. Now we're making a left onto La Palma. And as you might remember from last week's video, I don't know if these guys are going to contest this sprint knowing that they're in the third group, but they might as well. It's a group ride. It's a big enough group. You might as well have some fun with it. If these guys are thinking about, the idea of sprinting, right now is the time to try to think about positioning. There's probably about a mile down the road with two major potential lights before the right-hand turn onto Acacia, where the sprint itself actually is. But if you decide to sit on the back, you might miss splits, and you might not be in a good spot when that right-hander comes. So the best place to be right here, if you can manage it, is about 6 to 8 wheels back from the very front, and be able to protect your front wheel and hold your position. And as the surges happen, that can be easier said than done, but that's like what the textbook tells you want to be doing in a spot like this. Ivan Padilla finding his pedal in the group today. Nice to see Ivan. Original compa. Garza just gave him a tap on the back. And this group again continues to roll pretty well, pretty hard riding here. Mid 200s for Trucho, about a $149 on the heart rate. Coming up to that light that I had mentioned before of La Palma and State College, this is most of the time red. On the off chance this thing is green, you could really get a good run of things. I mean, all of a sudden, positioning would really pay off for anybody who decided to focus on positioning going towards the Acacia right-hander. I see green ahead, but we still have 150-ish meters here. Gosh, that green looks good. It would just be so wonderful to be able to hit that green before the yellow happens. Trucho's sitting point, and in fact we have the green. This is very unusual. I mean, I would think it's 1 out of every 20 times we hit it, we get green. There is a group ahead of us. This could in fact be the front half of the main field. If so, I would definitely say that sprint will be back on, because all of these guys that are coming back are going to want to remind their friends that jumped across some of those splits that were here. It's definitely them. I could recognize McKinley's, both his jersey, but more importantly his pedal stroke and his position on the bike. I already see a bunch of the people that were at the front end of the main field. We're rolling through the back end of them. We're coming up towards the front. McKinley, John, Musey, Chris. Trucho is kind of continuing to ride hard enough that he's on the front. This is the right-hander onto Acacia. As you might remember from last week, I don't actually know the exact measurement, but I'm going to guess from here to the city limit is about 500 meters. I'm probably pretty close because this sign just came across the screen that said 0.35 miles, which in metric is probably about 500 meters, is the Strava segment. We do have vehicle traffic. As you heard me say last week, this city limit sign isn't nearly as hotly contested as it used to be, and I think the reason why is that the vehicular traffic on this road has really increased over the years. This Jeep is doing nothing wrong. He's just simply driving his car, but it would be pretty hard to take the lane. He's making a turn, but we're picking up another car. If you're going to really quote-unquote sprint, you want to start the wind-up about here, which is what McKinley is doing. The cars may get in McKinley's way. I don't really know. Yeah, so John had to back off because that car is just up ahead of him. I mean, John, it looks like he's riding pretty hard and he's got 28 miles per hour. He just started to sprint again a little bit and he came right onto the car, which means he had to back off. This dude is going to wind up his sprint now, which he might be able to actually hold on to the sprint and not have interference with the car, but I would say, now a car is turning. I mean, I would say this sprint correctly got neutralized, and even if it had been going full gas, those last couple of cars would have neutralized it. It's going to be really hard to take back the leaders of this board. It's just not, it's very hard to actually really sprint there. We never saw the actual break, but we did catch back on with the main part of the main field. And that's going to bring us to the close of another awesome video. Thank you so much to Trucho for capturing all of this video and editing all of it. Thank you to him and to all of our friends for having me back. I appreciate the chance to do this. It's a lot of fun. This week was a lot of fun for me because I wasn't on the ride, so I was seeing it for the first time just like some of you are seeing it for the first time. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe and like the videos that you're watching. Leave a comment. Give us anything that's on your mind, and we'll try to respond to it in one of the upcoming videos. And can't wait to see all of you out there next weekend. And everybody be safe and keep the rubber side down. Thank you. Thank you, Chucho.
I thought you were gonna tell us who you are. You announced like the real name.
Oh wow! Well, okay.
Maybe we'll just leave it for the next one. And
we'll leave it for the next one. That's our cliffhanger. I started as red jersey guy. I became faded black, hideous, disgusting jersey, faded black jersey guy. My wardrobe is hideous. My identity will be revealed soon. Okay. Assuming Trucho invites me back. But either way, I had a great time this week, so thank you for having me.